starto. I think we're live. Okay, my mic is here.
Is everything exploding
I think
as it usually does?
no, everything's going so good today. Zaiga's here, it looks like. That's amazing. I keep
Yes.
forgetting. I want to get like some sweet background music. We gotta have like lo-fi anime girl style like background music for this podcast.
Yeah, you should get something like that.
I keep meaning to, and I always forget because I'm a terrible streamer. Um, but hey, we're live. How's everyone doing? I see Debbie's here and excited. Debbie's being nice, so Debbie gets a pass. Hatun and Jen, you all need to leave forever, because your words hurt. Smo says a sound plating for others. Sound? No sound? There should be sound. I'm saying that there's sound. Am I crazy? No, Hatun's responding to things I said. Smo says nope, it was me. Okay. Debbie says hi. Hatun says, why don't you just make lo-fi anime girl music? That you're right. Why I should just make, just like 12 hours of music. How hard could it be? Other people make music. It must be easy. But anyway, Jen says, Hatun, switch one of your mods. Oh, I respect you so much. But hey, it's me, Gray, with Zaiga, as always.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are
That's
you?
good. I'm here.
I'm here as well.
That's good. I'm glad we're so present for this important podcast day.
Yeah, it's been a time, let me tell you.
Yeah, been a good
today's
time.
Today's been a good day. Today's been a good day.
That's good. That's good at least.
Yeah. In one of my gotcha games, I got all of the banner units. There was 2 rerun banners and 2 new ones, and I got all 4.
Wow.
Okay. So that's cool.
So you're riding high.
I am riding high.
You're in gotcha heaven.
Then last week, on Honkai Star Rail, I got 2 copies of the characters that just came out. So I'm and their weapons. So I am riding on a huge high this week.
That's good to hear. I'm glad that the loot box gods have smiled upon you. I don't know how gotcha works, but I assume that was good luck. I don't know.
It's very good luck. It's insane luck. I've had insane luck this week.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So very, very good, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I guess my week's been going fine so far. I'm actually I've apparently become a part-time worker. I don't at least like I don't know, I think my place of work has slowed down a little bit because I've had early days last couple of days in a row, which like never happens.
Yeah.
Because like even like today I was like at like 2:00 and my boss was like, hey, why don't you just go ahead and take the rest of the day off? You deserved it. I was like, you never say that. You usually want me to work till 7. So
He actually said that?
Yeah, he I think the way he phrases like he's like, you know what? It's like there's not enough time. Like the day's practically over. You might as well just go home early. And it's like it's 2, but okay. I mean, I don't know.
Has it really been that slow at your work this week?
I guess so. Like it does kind of ebb and flow sometimes. So like we'll have like slower periods, and then like it'll probably get super busy again. But I mean, I don't mind having a low key work week. I mean, I guess that was the other thing. That was like because I was able to take 2 full days off for FanX last week, and usually getting 2 days off in a row is pulling an arm. But he's very, very cool about it. So I don't know.
Do you have any Fan X experiences that you'd like to share
Oh man,
with the class?
Smo demands more gray time. What? No, it's mine. I use it. But no, FanX was super fun. Um, there's a lot of really cool people that went there. There's a lot of fun panels. Trying to think. I mean, because all the things that I'm I started talking to you about this before we started the podcast proper, Zaiga, but like I'm starting to suspect that maybe my opinions are different from the majority of people. Because
Oh, who would have thought?
I
Who would have
I
thought?
I was honestly shooketh because I went to so many art booths and nobody had any fan art for girlfriend or like level 1 demon lord and one room hero. I was so shocked that it was all just Demon Slayer and Naruto as far as the eye could see.
Yeah, who would have thought?
It was eye opening, but it was fun. There's a bunch of I mean they got a good mix. There's like they had like the big ticket celebrities, I guess, that everybody was excited for. They had a bunch of like voice actors that were there that I was excited for. They actually had a bunch of really cool, or at least cool to me. Like there was like some animators there that because one of the big things this year was that Don Bluth came to the convention. Um, for those who
Who's
know
Don
Don,
Bluth?
so he made a bunch of movies back like in the 80s and 90s, like animated films. Like if you've seen The Land Before Time or An American Tale, The Secret of Nim. He also did the art for the Dragon's Lair video game.
Okay.
And so he's kind of like he's a big like he's obviously like he's like retired now. He's like 92 or so. I can't believe he leaves his house, let alone goes to conventions. Um, but yeah, he was there. I never managed to get his autograph because he always left his booth every time I try to stop by to get an autograph. So that was a bummer. But I was able to meet Marty Grabstein, that A-list celebrity, the voice of Courage the Cowardly Dog. Um, and I was super.
Did Courage have a voice? I don't
Yeah,
remember
he
this.
did all those screamy sounds whenever he got scared, and that was Marty
I
Grabstein. His
okay.
only credit, I think, for voice acting is his courage. That's like his like one thing he's ever done. But he was there and he was the nicest guy. I got a signed Courage DVD from him that I was super excited about. Um, oh yeah, and Space Ace. That's right. That's the other game that Don Bluth did animation for. Thank you, Smo. I have a Don Bluth tat on my chest. Oh, can you imagine? I would love to like. What if I'd love to get like a henna tattoo, like those ones like that look really realistic, and like go to one of those conventions, like here, sign my tattoo, like this like random obscure guy. It'd be really funny. I don't know.
Any other stories or anything like that?
Um, oof.
What was your favorite part?
Um, it was all really fun. There was a something that was really fun to me again was that they had a panel of all the voice actors from Animaniacs who did a get together, and they basically did the entire panel as their characters, and it
Oh, that's
was
cute.
it was delightful. Hearing Wacko say the F word made me very happy. And they also had like because it was Wacko, Yakko, and Dot, and then the guy who voiced the Brain from Pinky and the Brain. And the guy who voices Yakko also voiced Pinky, so it was like got to have all five of them, I guess. I don't know, out of the four people. But it was that was a really fun panel. So I don't know. It was a good time. Like there was a bunch of Star Wars people there too, but I didn't care about that because I can't keep up with Star Wars anymore. There's too much of it.
I
Um,
see.
but yeah, it was a good time. I liked it. So
Well, um, thanks for inviting me. I really wanted to go, and
Yeah,
I,
did
I'm
you
I'm so glad I was
really?
I'm so glad I was able to go with you.
I mean, I lit that those smoke signals by the train station. You didn't notice those?
I've never been to a convention.
I
Do you know that?
know, I know you hate people or whatever. But
No, it's just my thoughts on conventions were at the time like why go to them when I could just buy merch cheaper on Amazon?
I mean, sometimes yeah, like it depends. Like if you want the official merch, then yeah, buying official merch at conventions is outrageous. They gouge the heck out of those prices. Um, for me, it's always like the fan made stuff that's like really cool.
Yeah.
Like I got some official art from trying to think. It was one of the animators who worked on a Goofy movie was there, and he was selling art of like basically like original art that he had done based on the Goofy movie. And so I've got a sweet
Okay.
picture of Sasquatch signed by him because of course I do.
Okay.
So I mean it's like that was it's like there's like cool stuff like that. There's like it's kind of like the things like you'll never find it anywhere else because like that kind of stuff is like only at cons.
I
But it also
see.
depends on like what you want because obviously as far as anime goes, like even like for for Bonds or whatever, like actual anime conventions, like you usually don't get people coming from Japan to American conventions. Not in Utah anyway.
I don't know. Maybe it's the introvertedness in me that just is not a huge fan being around people, a lot of people. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll go
Right. I mean
when you
it's
invite me.
I mean if you ever want to come like just it's like I don't know if I'm gonna go to Bonsai this year. I might. I always because Bonsai's full of a lot of weirdos. A lot of anime nerds. But I don't know. But FanX is usually a good time. It was crowded this year though. It was so packed. It was crazy. That's probably my least favorite part. Is it takes like an hour to get from one end of it to the other just because there's so many people in the way.
Yeah.
But anyway, those were minor adventures.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Glad you had some time off.
Yeah, that was actually really nice to do. Like even I mean it was busy days, but it was technically not working days, so it's kind of change of pace. So
Yeah, know what that feels like. It's kind of like how it was when I was in Japan. It was like days were really busy, but they were fun.
yeah, exactly. It's just nice to be like it's like busy because you want to be kind of thing. Where
Yeah.
it's like I'm doing all these things that I want to do. Yay! But
So about that anime,
yeah, we remember how we used to do a podcast about anime.
have you watched anything this week?
Um, let's see. I mean, I've been watching my regular shows, or I'm catching up on my regular shows. I'm not fully caught up on any of them, but I have watched an anime. Try to think. Been watching Am I Actually the Strongest, which is mediocre, but a good time.
Is he actually the strongest?
I think he's actually the strongest. It's a
No way.
yeah it's a really different take for an isekai to have an overpowered OC who thinks he's underpowered, and all these girls like him for some reason. It's a really different concept for a show. It's pretty highbrow stuff,
Yeah.
but it's also maybe a 6 out of 10, but it's fun.
I mean, I finished a 6 out of 10 today, this week, so I know how you feel.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
have you been watching, Zaiga?
I finished the Mushoku Tensei, and that was That was a definite 6 out of 10. Compared to like season one, which I gave like I think I gave it like an 8 out of 10.
Hmm.
I just didn't like this season. Maybe the second half will change my mind, but honestly, it was eh,
Was it
it
just
just made
like
me
slow, or was it just not?
it just made me not like the main character even more. And
Mm,
just the ridiculousness of the situation just kind of was annoying. Yeah, it's just weird storytelling and a weird story plot, and I just didn't like it.
that's fair, I guess.
But I did watch something that was amazing.
Was it?
Yes.
What could it have been that you maybe
It
hinted at before?
it was Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury. Mercury. I
Oh,
finished it.
okay.
Yeah.
Was it pretty good?
And oh my gosh, it was so good.
That's like a recent one, right?
Yeah, it's a recent one. It was so good. I like binged the last half of it because I just could not stop watching. Could not stop watching it. It was like the characters were really great. It was intense. It was just it was fantastic. It really was fantastic.
Mm.
I'd highly recommend it if you even if you're not really into um or if you don't really know much about uh Mobile Suit Gundam, I'd check it out. It's a cute show. It had a really nice ending. Um and some of- there's this one guy in this show. I think his name was Jatark something. What was his
Hmm.
name? What was his name? He's this dude. He starts from episode one, but he goes through absolute hell in this show. And he's probably my favorite character in the show, but because he's just like starts as this like cocky jock like guy. He's his name is Guel,
Hmm.
Guel, and
Okay.
he he's like this cocky guy and cocky jock, and then he gets like brought down at the very beginning, and then from there he just spirals out of control, and everything that happens in his life like is absolutely terrible, and um he just goes all the way to the bottom level, and then he like slowly crawls his way back up, and it's such a phenomenal thing to watch. It's
Hmm.
so cool. It's so cool. And a lot of other characters are really cool too. It kind of the show kind of reminded me of like the first time I watched Code Geass,
Okay.
and just like with the action and the politicalness of like what was going on, stuff like
Hmm.
that. It was honestly fantastic. I'd highly recommend it to anyone. Um, it's very cute. I'd watch it.
I might have to check this one out because I've never watched like an entire Gundam series. So
Yeah,
maybe this was
yeah. The only thing I would say is that maybe season two, part two, or whatever. Maybe it was a little fast paced, a little too
mm,
fast paced. Maybe it could have been slowed down a little bit, but
sure.
other than that, um, that's probably like the only nitpick that I have.
Okay. Well, very cool.
Yeah. So yeah, check it out if you have the chance. But
Yeah, neat.
speaking of witches,
Witches.
Studio Ghibli,
Wow, what a
Kiki's
segue.
Kiki's Delivery Service.
Wow.
She's a
So
witch.
so subtle.
I actually planned that.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to talk about Witch of Mercury, then I'm going to transition into Kiki's Delivery Service.
Wow. It was so subtle. I didn't even see the way see you back the truck over me. Like, jeez. But yeah, hey, we're talking about Studio Ghibli. Remember that was the topic today.
Yes, that was the topic.
Oh boy.
Except she's the witch from Earth or whatever. I don't know where this place is that Kiki's Delivery Service was from.
I think it's vaguely Earth, isn't it?
Yeah, I
Like
think
maybe
so.
not. Hmm? Is it not?
Let's preface this really quick before
Wait.
we start. Before we start talking about Studio Ghibli, to be honest, I'm gonna be completely honest with everyone here. I have
Mm-hmm.
not seen a Ghibli movie for like over 10 years.
Gasp.
So
Fake
I'm gonna
anime
have
fan.
I'm gonna have to be like digging back into my memory because the last one, like I've seen a lot of Ghibli movies, but I saw them like ages ago, like over 10
Hmm.
years ago.
Okay.
I like went through a binge where I watched most of them at the time, so I have to like recall a lot of them. So bear with me.
Wow. Can't believe this chicanery. But okay.
When was the last time you watched a Ghibli movie?
Gosh. It's- it was probably oh, 20, 2016, 2017. No, I watched Spirited Away like at my where was it, my cousin's house. I watched Spirited Away like maybe a year ago, like semi recently.
Okay.
The last time I went out of my way to watch a Ghibli film was probably like 2016. It was actually you making me go out of my way to watch one because you made me borrow it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I think that was another one. I had it. I borrowed it for like 4 months or something. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, you do that.
the teams we didn't even try to do research. Look, we've put as much research into this episode as we put into every episode we put out on this fine podcast.
Well, I can remember the good ones. I
Jeez,
remember.
what a strong. All right, sure.
So I remember most of them. Like I could go through like the list, but um the like I haven't seen really of the recent ones, like from Mari Day on, I haven't seen. Um but from the bottom, from Kaguya and to Nausicaa, I've seen pretty much most of them. And
Wow.
I can I just have to dig into the recesses of my mind in order to come up with a discussion.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, how do you want to do this?
I mean, I guess really, I mean, we could just, I mean, we want to try to break this down like chronologically, or do we just want to like talk about our favorites and just screw the rest of them? I mean, they've got like 20 something movies they've made, I think. Probably even more, honestly.
Yeah, let's talk about some of our favorites and kind of like the big ones,
Sure,
and then we'll talk
sure.
about some of the big ones as well.
All right. Fair, fair.
Um, what is your favorite?
So, my favorite, and I think I've mentioned this one a time or four, if I can know how to spell it. I did spell it because I'm good at the game. I know how to do things. It's Kaze no Tane no Nausicaa. Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind. I have the, so I own this on Blu-ray, obviously, but then I also have there's like this limited edition like manga set that was made to like celebrate like the 30th anniversary or something of this.
Yeah.
Um, that I bought while I was in Japan. I've got it. So I got like a sweet full color set of manga based on the movie. It's it's a good movie. I like it. It's got
That's
bugs in it.
nice. Yeah,
So
Nausicaa has a lot of bugs in it.
it's there's problems, but no, it's. I mean, I guess. I mean, do we bother? I guess we talk about like what the movies are about a little bit. I mean, I feel like most people have probably seen most of these themselves,
Yeah, a brief little synopsis.
right? I mean, it's kind of got it here, but basically, Nausica takes place in like the decently far into the future, where like basically like nuclear war devastated the planet, and humanity's kind of crawling back from the brink of destruction. Um, but all that nuclear radiation basically just made the wildlife go crazy. It's like there's like giant bugs and all kinds of things that like live like in the jungles, and so it's like this whole like and basically the whole thing is like Nausicaa is trying to learn like how humans could like live like together with this like how this like new ecology. Meanwhile, there's like a different group of people who are like, well, what if we just all burn it all down again? Just get rid of all that junk. Just start fresh. Worked so good the first time. But
Yeah.
it's just kind of like about Nausicaa and these other people kind of like just kind of opposing each other in how they want to make humanity be good and stuff. I don't know. Like it, I make this sound so terrible, but it's a really good movie.
No,
Like,
I get what you mean. I remember this movie. I remember I enjoyed it a whole lot. Um, I I'll be honest with you. The thing I remember the most is kind of like the ending, I think.
sure, it's very flashy,
Yeah, it's very flashy and like the whole like ending sequence, I guess, was
right?
very weird, but um oh my gosh, there's I can say I should have watched a Ghibli
Yeah, I
movie
can't.
over the weekend.
Yeah, what did
Uh
you do with all your free time, Zaiga?
I've had no free time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay, sure. Um, but
But I remember enjoying it a lot. I think I gave it a 9 as well as like you did.
yeah, it's good. I think and Nausicaa is a really good embodiment of probably one of my favorite things about Studio Ghibli is that
Yeah.
they write very good conflicts in their movie because like and Nausicaa's a great example of like how like because like there are villains or like antagonists, right?
Yeah.
But they're only like they're bad because they're opposing the hero, not because they're actually like nefarious per se. Like they feel like they're doing the right thing as much as like Nausicaa feels she's doing the right thing. And so like
Okay.
there's this it's a really good I don't know, it's just like it's like well written conflict where you can really sympathize with both sides even though you do want Nausicaa to win. It's like you understand where the other people are coming from. And so like I don't know. It's like it's and a lot of Ghibli movies do that where like you're able to like sympathize with like all the characters, not just the the good guys, so to speak, which I think is a pretty pretty cool thing. It's a really
Yeah.
tough balancing act to pull that off.
Yeah, like Hatun said, it's nuanced, not just good versus evil. Yeah, I
Right.
agree with that.
Yeah, that's probably like my as far as like all my favorite. I mean, just like Studio Ghibli in general, so like that's probably what I really like the most about them is you can kind of you know that like the story is going to be more than surface level. Like it's going to be something that'll kind of like stay with you, make you think, and usually be a good time. But anyway, so that's I'd say this is probably like my very favorite one. So what about you, Zyga? Tough guy,
Um,
Mister haven't watched Ghibli in 30 years or whatever you said.
Um, it's really hard to choose a favorite. Like, um,
I
part
mean,
of
there.
me, it's really hard. It's honestly really hard.
Right.
I remember I really liked Whisper of the Heart.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I remember I really liked that one. It was kind of like about like uh, a I think it's about a guy about writing and stuff like that and books. But I remember that one being really good.
Right.
Um, I enjoyed the conflict and the characters, and I think it like bustled into a romance. I'm not really sure, but
Right.
I this one was one of my most highest rated Ghibli movies from my list from back in the day.
Hmm.
Um, and the other one that I would say is probably my favorite um, would be Spirited Away, of course. Uh,
Okay.
just because I love the visuals in Spirited Away for the most part.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
because like the world she gets like spirited away to is just such a fascinating world to look at and to see like that whole like bathhouse thing and um each of the floor everything is so detailed and amazing to look at
Sure.
and um the characters too are really cool and very interesting. And even though when I was a kid, I wouldn't say as I was a kid when I first saw it.
Hmm.
I think I was maybe like um
A minor. I don't know.
yeah I was really young, but I remember I was like so worried about the mom and the dad for that they were becoming these pigs. I was like, I don't want to become a pig.
Yeah. Don't steal from ghosts. That's the
Yeah.
whole lesson of the movie.
No, I learned never to eat at stalls that have lots of food in them.
Right. Yeah. There's no such thing as a free lunch. You'll be cursed forever.
Yes. um so yeah, that was the that was probably one of my favorite ones uh was that.
Okay. Fair. Yeah. Spirited Away is like I really can't speak on Whispers of the Heart 'cause I've never actually seen that one. That's one of the handful I haven't. But Spirited Away is I mean, I totally agree with like as far as like the visuals, like Spirited Away is just is insane. Like there's just so much going on like in every scene.
Yes.
Like it fully feels like I mean it's an isekai, so I also have a bit of a bias that way, but um like it feels like there's like this full functioning world and you just get like little like sliver of a glimpse at how it all operates because
Yeah,
you like the audience only knows as much as Chihiro knows or Sen, but
yeah, like my favorite part in the movie was I think like near the end when she's like going on that journey with No Face outside of the world or whatever.
right, yeah, like on
And
the
then you're
train,
like yeah, then you're seeing, oh, look at this like other world, not just the bathhouse or whatever.
right? No, it's definitely like the world that it builds is insane. Like it's just like so detailed in like what it does give you, and I definitely remember I think I had a similar reaction the first time I watched it because I think I watched it um I think it was like I think it was like it was like a this like it was like as a premiere on Cartoon Network. So I don't even think I saw like the full version of the movie. It's just like whatever's like made for TV version there was. Yeah, I remember being similarly upset by the pig scene because I just wasn't ready for that turn um, to happen in the movie. It really
Yeah, I
like
feel like it was for a kid. I think it would be kind of scary to see that your parents get turned into that or whatever.
right. I mean that whole build up to that scene too is like there's like so much of like this like no you fools turn around. All the red flags are bad. Like get away.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Like I didn't need to know nothing about like Japanese symbolism to know that all the things they kept walking through are no good. And just like I mean that was the other thing like this movie like I think I really didn't like it the first time I watched it because like there's just like so much context I just didn't have
Yeah,
because like it's always like surprised me a little bit like how amazingly successful this film was even outside of Japan because I feel like there's so much about this movie that's like so Japanese. Like all the different like yokai and things, like all the different rules for how the spirit world works, like all very like Japanese and like oh I forgot the word. Not not Buddhism, the other one.
Shintoism.
Shinto, yeah, it's very like whoa. It's very Shinto centric. I think it's water time by the way.
Water time.
It's water time. Somebody announced it. I drank my water. I guess you
Um,
don't hear the alerts, I guess.
yeah, I don't. I have the stream muted.
I can't believe you don't want to listen to your own stream
I don't want to hear myself and then you double.
on a sweet 10-second delay. What's wrong with you? Hi, Sir Goodsworth, by the way. But yeah, so yeah, Spirited Away is definitely an interesting one. Like, it's also like I feel like this is like the first one where like I mean, because I don't know, it's interesting because I know like a lot of the other Ghibli movies like made it international before Spirited Away. But like I feel like Spirited Away was like so successful that it kind of like retroactively like I don't know, like reintroduced everybody like to their previous movies. Like I feel like I'd never heard of Studio Ghibli till I saw this one, and then suddenly like started seeing like everything about like Kiki's Delivery Service and Totoro and like all those other movies like suddenly like started popping up again, even
Yeah.
though those had come out like a while ago relatively. Yeah, so it's interesting. Also, apparently this film had was the highest grossing film in Japanese history up until the Demon Slayer movie. So there you go. Shows you how popular Spirited Away was.
Yeah, that was it was pretty popular at its time, I remember.
It, I mean, and I'd say overall like it's kind of deserved. I mean, it's like I don't know that like especially like the post digital animation age like you just don't see movies like this detailed like even now like I don't know that Ghibli's ever really topped Spirited Away in terms of like the animation and like stylistic detail and all that like the movies always look good but like Spirited Away was like really just like a notch above.
Yeah, I agree. It was in terms of like presentation and characters and just everything and story. I really think so. I'd agree.
So yeah, pretty decent choice.
Yeah, yeah.
You're allowed to stay on the podcast another week.
I see how it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Where you've already lost all your privileges.
Yeah. I would have been kicked off the island like weeks ago, except that I host the stream. So
Yeah, that's true.
it's like, like at it's like it's my birthday party, so I can't you can't kick me out of the musical chairs game. I get a win. But yeah, so Spirited Away, good choice.
Yeah, yeah, good.
K-
What's another one that you enjoy?
Katoon also likes this one. Let's see, another one that I really liked. Oof, trying to think. I'm just like scanning the list here real quick. Um,
Wait, you don't know these off the top of your head?
I mean, there's a lot of them is the thing. Like they're all very good.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. There's a
I
lot.
mean, if I had to pick like one that I'd maybe consider like my second favorite, here. Ooh, my mouse is starting to break. I don't like that. I'd probably say Howl's Moving Castle is one that I really enjoyed when I watched
Yeah,
it.
I would agree with you. This was another one I was thinking of.
Like, I think it's. I mean, there's a lot. Like, this is another one where like the world it presents is just fascinating in the way that because like magic is like a thing that exists in the world, but like it's not like a well understood thing. It's kind of like this. It's like this like thing that's like some people have it, some people don't, but like it's like unclear like how powerful it can or can't be. Like the Howl himself was like just like this fascinating, mysterious person. Like what's he up to, and like what's his motives, and also just the fact that like and it's I mean especially because like one thing about Ghibli that's like I hear people always like kind of like it's like all, the main characters in Ghibli movies are always like girls, like they're like preteen girls. I was like that's like kind of like yeah. And I think technically Sophie is also in that category, except that she spends most of the movie as like an old woman.
Yeah,
But like it's kind of interesting that like essentially like I don't know like having I mean because she's not really an old woman, but like at the same time, it's like for the most of the movies, like it is like an old woman who's like kind of the main character. Like you just don't see that like in anything. It's like really unique, and just the all the different like mini adventures. Like I love this scarecrow to death. Like it's my favorite,
yeah.
best character.
I totally guess that you like those type of characters. Just the weird,
But
different.
but no, it's just like fun because like everything about this movie is like a little bit like tilted for like what you'd normally expect. Like, and it's another one. It's like very fun and imaginative. Like his castle is like so wacky and silly. I think isn't this one that has got like the fire demon, right? What's his name? I think that's this one.
Oh yeah, Calcifer.
Yeah,
Calcifer.
Calcifer. Yeah, yeah. There's a bunch of really good like little side characters in this one. Like it's just a good time. But I don't know. I like it.
See,
So
I remember things. I remember things. It's all
you
coming back
do.
to me.
That's pretty good. Like I'm kind of just terrible with names. Like I can't even remember the names of like things I'm watching right now.
Yeah,
Like names of characters, but
I think that Howl's Moving Castle is again one of those shows, just like Spirited Away, how just everything is just incredibly detailed, like in terms of like the moving castle bit and stuff like that.
mm,
And I really liked how like there's like certain doors and stuff, and then those doors lead to other places. And it's kind of like
yeah.
that was so fascinating to me.
No, it's really cool. Like and like it's one of those things like the plot feels like very non-linear. Like in this movie, like it's like it just feels like constantly like, things are just like happening like inside the castle, and that's kind of like the whole movie. Like as she like opens different doors or like other things happen, like but it's very very cool. So
Yeah, and like you said, um, I kind of enjoyed that as well. The whole aspect of her being kind of like an old lady the entire time. It just kind of like it gives you like a new perspective on like a show because you always have those like young girls or whatever, and yeah, even though that she is one, um, is kind of like a different point of view,
right.
and I did enjoy that bit.
Yeah. Non-Euclidean storytelling. You're exactly right, Cutsworth. But no, yeah. So this is one I really enjoyed. Actually, I kind of want to watch it again. It's been a minute since I've seen this one. This is one I would not mind watching sometime soon. But
Yeah, all these that we're talking about, I wish I could watch again, like
yeah,
soon, because
Ghibli marathon. Let's go.
yeah, when are we gonna watch anime again? Didn't we used to watch anime a lot?
Oh, remember when we used to watch anime? That was a good
Yeah,
time.
I showed you K-On! And stuff like that.
You did. You averaged out to show me pretty good shows.
Oh, I averaged out. It was half and half.
Yeah, you did show me that weird Venice show.
That was such a good show. You said you liked
Okay.
it.
No, it was a really good one. That's kind of
It
sad we
was a
stopped
really good
watching
one.
that one. I liked it, but just watch more anime. I watched so much anime, Hatu, and you don't even know. I got anime coming out my ears. But yeah, so what's another one for you, Zaiga
Well,
Sensei?
since you stole mine,
Perfect. I was hoping to.
um, man, I guess Castle in the Sky. I guess.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
La puta.
Castle in the Sky always felt really good.
Mm.
In terms of just um kind of like world building and stuff like that, because it was always like, oh wow, there's this really cool place in the sky that has a castle, and they're trying to find it and stuff like that. It feels like this grand adventure that they're going on, and it's always like super exciting
Mm.
to watch.
Right.
Um, yeah, it was kind of just like this, just an adventure movie, and I really enjoyed though. I really enjoy those a bit. Have you seen
Right.
this one?
I've seen this one a long time ago, but like I don't remember it super well, to be honest. But like I do remember it being like a fun time, like just like we were saying, it was just like a good adventure, like. But this is actually when I'd really like to watch it again because I feel like I watched it like when I was like half asleep or something. Because I think I was like binging a couple of movies that day or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one. I mean, I guess this is their very first one even, so started strong. But
Yeah, was this one their first one, or was it
I mean,
Nausicaa was their first one?
it says this was the first film to be produced and released by Studio Ghibli.
Oh,
Um,
really?
I don't know. I mean, technically, Nausicaa was their very first one, according to Wikipedia. So maybe in the sense of like this was made by Studio Ghibli, but maybe like the producer was. Actually, I don't know how that. I don't know how they figure that actually, because it seems like Nausicaa came first by 2 years, but I don't know. It's I don't know if that's my anime list is wrong or maybe there's some kind of technicality there, but either way,
Maybe.
very early on in Studio Ghibli, so, and they really just, I mean, they did like just banger after banger when they first were going. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They definitely did. That was that was the coolest thing about Studio Ghibli at the time was that they would just make so many good movies after one after another. And I think that is honestly why like Disney got a hold of them
mm-hmm,
because they saw that they were making all these good movies that were like making millions and the storytelling was really good. And then Disney was like, "Oh well, let's help them get to a bigger audience."
yeah, help and acquire that the pie while we're at it.
Yes, the pie.
But but no, yeah, I mean, and it's really cool because I think that's like some that's one of the other like unique things about Ghibli is that it's a Japanese studio that's like truly like international, like in like a big way too. Like this isn't like it's like this is like something where like even people who don't really watch anime have probably seen at least a couple of Ghibli movies, just as a matter of course, because they come out in theaters like regular movies, which at least in America, like America hates having foreign films in theaters. Like I don't know what our problem is, but we only watch Hollywood in America. Like so to have like an actual international studio that releases even here, like it is crazy.
Yeah, I agree. That's what's so great about Studio Ghibli, you know, is that it brought a lot of people to anime in like different ways, I think.
Hmm.
I think wouldn't you say that Studio Ghibli is kind of like a gateway into anime, or would what do you think?
I mean, it's hard to say because it possibly has been a gateway for some people. Like I always struggle to consider Ghibli as part of anime in the same way I consider like other things anime. Like Ghibli just has like its own like I mean because like it is anime. Like there's really no technicalities about it. Like it's always like in my mind I always put like in its like own bucket kind of within anime. And it's like I don't know like I feel like a lot of people could watch Ghibli but like never see any other anime and like maybe even not necessarily be drawn to more anime. But I don't know like what's like do you feel like what's your thoughts on that, Zaiga?
I don't know. It's hard to say. Um, because yeah, it's kind of a hard thing to talk about, I think.
Right, it is weird like because I will say because I think I watched Spirited Away before I'd ever really seen anime, or like maybe I've been watching like Naruto or something. Like it's still like early on to the, like where like I was watching anime, but not like I wasn't watching anime because it was anime. I was just like I was watching stuff that was on TV, and if I
Yeah.
liked it, I kept watching it. And so like I remember watching Spirited Away, and at least at that time, I would say that Spirited Away would not have I would not have been drawn to more anime because that was a little bit much for me at the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like if I had seen something like Nausica early on, I think I might have been drawn more to want to see more stuff like that, or even like Kiki's Delivery Service or something like where like it's it's a bit more digestible in terms of like the premise.
Yeah.
Like, there's like, but I don't know. Like, it's interesting. Some
Yeah,
people don't even.
I honestly like I think it could be a gateway for people. But I think it depends on which one because sometimes with these ones, it's kind of hard to tell that it's like an anime or a background of an anime because it feels like kind of like an old Disney show.
Right.
So
I
I think,
think, yeah.
yeah. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say like because something that really sets Ghibli apart, at least in my mind, is that I mean compared to a lot of like more I don't know your traditional anime, like Ghibli tends to go for like a much softer look. Like you don't see as many like as like hard straight lines and angles and stuff. Like they're like it's not quite like Western animation, but like it's kind of like this like I don't know like this like intersection between like Western animation and like Japanese animation. Like I mean, Spirited Away is actually a lot more anime, I think, in the look of it. But like, like it's hard to put my finger on exactly, but like there's something about Ghibli that doesn't look quite like other anime. I mean, and obviously like, maybe the budget's part of that because you know they're full fledged movies, but
Yeah, yeah. I agree. There's something about Ghibli movies that just it feels anime if you know like about anime a lot, but it also doesn't. It's it's a weird, interesting thing.
right? Because I mean, it's one of those things like, and that's why I hesitate to say like this could be like a gateway drug, so to speak, for anime. Because I
Yeah,
think if you're looking for something that looks like Ghibli, I think there's really only Ghibli. Like, I
yeah.
mean, I can't think of a whole lot of other. Like, there was was it Ranking of Kings? I think was an anime recently that was very Ghibli inspired in its style. Which I mean, maybe could be like the one exception, but like there aren't too many that really go for this look. So, but I don't know. That's kind of it is interesting to think about, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is an interesting thing to think about. And
Actually, I
that's just the weird thing about it's kind of like in this weird gray area of anime.
right. And actually, I just want to point out because Goodsworth did ask a question a second ago that's kind of interesting. Like, have we ever watched Ghibli with people, or have we always like watched it like on our own time? Like, you ever watched like a Ghibli movie with people?
Um, no, to be
And
honest.
okay,
I've only really watched it on my own,
right.
so I couldn't really say.
I mean, because I'll say like I mentioned before, like I've watched Spirited Away with people. Actually, a few times I've watched. That's always the one that ends up being the one too, because they're always like, "Oh, Gray, you like Japan? Let's watch some. This is the Japan movie I have." I'm like, "Oh boy, Spirited Away again, my favorite." But, so I've watched
Um,
I've watched Spirited Away a lot, like it or at least like not a lot, but like it's happened like 3 times, and it's always in that context of like it's like they have the movie because they like the movie, but they don't necessarily have it because like it's an anime. They're just like, oh, I like this movie, and they know they're like, oh yeah, you lived in Japan, right? You must love this one. I was like, sure. I mean, that's those are. It's not because I lived in Japan, but it's a good movie. Like I don't know, like it's like it's kind of like they're not categorizing it as anime per se. They're just like, oh yeah, it's a Japanese movie. That's kind of like how they have it in their brain.
yes, I completely agree with that. So I
But
remember I've showed it to some people at some times, and I've had that same reaction from people.
so, but I don't know. So it is interesting, and I mean, I feel like these are really good movies to like you could like introduce like Japanese movies to younger folks with Ghibli. Like I actually I'm curious to see if I could maybe get my little brother to watch some of these. Like he'd probably love Castle in the Sky actually. But anyway,
Here's a question: Would would you consider it? I wouldn't, but um, kind of like those Mamoru Hosoda movies, and the uh the uh the guy who did Your Name. What is his name called? Uh,
Oh, I don't know.
Your Name movie.
Isn't it just called Your Name?
Makoto Shinkai. Like
Oh, sure.
Makoto Shinkai movies and Mamoru Hosoda movies. How
Mm.
would because they used to work at Studio Ghibli, I believe, or at least Mamoru Hosoda did.
Hmm.
And I
Okay.
think a lot of his movies, like Summer Wars, for instance,
Oh, sure.
they kind of have like that Ghibli vibe to it.
Yeah, Summer Wars. That's actually um can't I just find the movie? Where's Summer Wars? There it is. This is 2009. Wow. Um that's actually an interesting point because I would say like I would much more easily say that Summer Wars is like an anime movie because like but you're right though like it still has some of that flavor of like just kind of like the outrageousness that like Spirited Away have like this like because it has like these big sequences that are like very colorful and imaginative or it's like it's a full different world but it it's still it still feels more anime than like I wonder what that distinction would be at that point because huh I'd have to like think about that a little bit I guess because I enjoyed Summer Wars quite a bit like it was a really good movie
Yeah,
but like huh what's like what are your thoughts on that
on like how Summer Wars is as a movie,
like how it
or
compares to Ghibli in your mind
um,
or I guess just
I'd
like anything
say
that this guy's done but because he's done a few others right ooh I
I would
can't
say he's very similar on to the lengths of Studio Ghibli. Um, just because of I don't know the overall feel of it feels very similar but kind of different in some ways.
hmm
It's again it's hard to say, but he's really made a lot of like really good movies that I feel like are like just like right up on Studio Ghibli's alley, I think. Like The Girl Who Leapt Through Time or um Wolf Children. I really enjoyed Wolf Children. I actually showed that one to a family member
hmm
and they liked it.
okay see I guess this is where I have to show my ignorance a little bit I've only seen some more wars from this guy actually just like scanning his list here because he did the Boy and the Beast it looks like as well
Yes. Yes, he did do The Boy and the Beast. I remember that one.
yeah I remember hearing like the girl who leapt through time was like I've heard a lot of people loved that movie as well so like I'll probably need to check out these other films he's done at some point because like I've only seen some wars that's really like my only point of reference for his work at least but
Yeah, I think you should watch Wolf Children. I think you would like that one.
yeah I'll have to add it to a list for sure because I apparently need to expand my horizons for anime.
Yes, you do.
I have to see what the other half watches. But oops, okay. But all right, interesting point. Interesting.
What do you think kind of like the how should I frame this question? Ghibli movies compared to like Disney-ish movies, Disney movies.
Hello, sense of none. Um, I mean, I can definitely see why like Disney kind of incorporated Ghibli. Because I think there's very similar wavelengths, like in the sense of like Hayao Miyazaki's like really like I feel like just like a once in a generation kind of just like animation director. And so like
Yeah,
I
I
don't know,
agree.
I mean 'cause I think like especially like when Studio Ghibli was kind of like at their height, like probably like in the late 80s through the 90s and stuff, like, and even like early 2000s, there was like it was just like banger after banger after banger,
Yeah,
like like their movies, like, I mean, in a very different way, where like it's like I'm trying to think, is like in terms of like the animation quality, like on par with Disney, sometimes better, sometimes maybe not quite, like movie to movie, like they're like neck and neck, I would say, as far as like the animation, like for their respective styles they're going for, right?
yeah,
And then like story wise, I think Ghibli probably has the edge more often than not in terms of just like the complexity of the characters. Like I feel like with Miyazaki, like he's just able to write humans in a more consistent way than, I mean, and like, I mean, and not that I don't know that Disney's goal is ever to do very like complex storytelling, because they really, I mean, Disney really has kind of, I'd say their focus has always been more of like for like kid movies more than like maybe like purely family movies, which is
yeah.
like a fine distinction, I guess. Because I feel like Ghibli is like really like they're like good family movies, because like they're fun for kids, but like they're also like complex enough for like adults to get into them. And there aren't a lot of Disney movies that really rival that. Like until you get to like Pixar, maybe, where like Pixar does pretty complex storytelling, at least like enough to be like more like a full family kind of film.
Yeah,
Because I mean, like, I don't know, I have a soft spot for like like 90s Renaissance Disney. Like I love Aladdin and The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast. They're not necessarily complex movies. They're a fun time, but like
yeah.
like I mean, I mean, Aladdin's a blast to watch, but it's not like I don't feel like I'm emotionally involved in Aladdin the way I might get emotionally involved like watching Princess Mononoke.
That's
But
true.
like I don't know, like what are your thoughts?
I don't know. Disney movies, it's hard for me to say because like I'd say about like the older Disney movies, maybe they had a bit more of those kind of like world building that
Mm,
that Ghibli had. But I think it was over time they've gotten a lot more diluted in like what they are like.
sure. Yeah, I actually I kind of agree with that. I was actually, I mean, this is a bit of a tangent, but I went, one of the panels I went to for FanX was it was like the rise and fall of 2D animation in America, and it was all about a bit of that was like they were talking about why Disney stopped doing 2D animation, and how they kind of like they really overreached and stuff like that. But yeah, when you think about like the early, that's true, because I mean, because like when I think about like movies like in the classic Disney times, like Pinocchio is really exceptional.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, like I kind of agree. I could see like those old Disney movies actually do a much better job of like being like more I don't know, like casting bit of a wider net for kids and adults.
Yes, I 100% agree.
So yeah, that's actually that's a fair point. Because I guess I was like, I was comparing. I mean, because I guess Ghibli, I mean, and Ghibli is just a much younger studio, though. Because like, it's like, so I was like, oh yeah, like, 80s and 90s Ghibli compared to like 80s, 90s Disney, but Disney's got about 100 years on them, I guess. Really, they started like in the 30s, so
Yeah, they really have. It's They started a long time ago, and I think those type of Disney shows obviously were the ones that Miyazaki was kind of like trying to emulate because
sure.
I think that he enjoyed those shows and wanted to make something similar. At least that's my
Hmm.
thoughts. It's not gospel, but
I mean, I'd believe it. I know a lot of like the original like mangaka and like anime directors from like the 60s and onward were heavily inspired by Disney. I mean, a lot of his name escapes me. But like Astro Boy guy. Oh jeez. Like I
Mr.
can't
Boy,
remember.
I don't know. I don't remember his name either. So
I'm totally blanking. I feel like an idiot, but like a lot of like his early stuff is like very clearly like old school Disney inspired in the anime, like the style of it. I mean, and I guess maybe that's actually another comparison like you could really make like from Disney to Ghibli's that like 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 Disney in a lot of ways like did their best stuff like while Walt Disney was still alive,
yeah,
and Ghibli has really struggled to make like a solid film without Miyazaki. Like every time he retires, the next movie that comes out is not as good. Like, and then to the point where like you could probably argue that like Earwig and the Witch was probably just outright just bad. Like like
well, I've never seen that one.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, so I can't really say 100%. But like the consensus I seem to hear is like it's just it's not up to snuff with what Ghibli's known for, I guess.
Yeah.
Osamu Tezuka, thank you, Hatun. But
Oh yeah,
anyway,
so much as I could. Yeah.
I guess I always for Earwig and the Witch, I kind of go back to, and I think I shared this article in season 0 of our previous podcast. Um, but there was an article where Miyazaki was talking about like what he thought about Earwig and the Witch since he wasn't involved in it, and
Yeah.
just the wording, the way he talked about it, like you could tell like I don't think he liked it because I think he did because like I think it was his son Goro who directed it and stuff, and I think he was saying like it's like yeah that the film is interesting and has a unique style and just like other like very vague polite Japanese words and just like yeah you're trying to be supportive of your son,
Yeah.
but I don't I still suspect that Goro doesn't actually want to be a director. I don't know. It
Yeah,
doesn't seem like his heart's in it.
probably not.
that's
Probably
that's.
not.
I mean, I don't know if I'd want to be like, and like, if someone was like, if your dad is known to be like the best in the world at something, and then your dad's like, hey, you should come do the same thing I'm doing. It's like I don't know about that one. It's like that's a lot of pressure. Like maybe,
Yeah, that would be so much. I agree. That would be so much pressure.
I mean, especially like, I don't want to say especially because it's in Japan, but like, but Japan has a real heavy emphasis on carrying on like the family business.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole that is like a bit of a tradition there where like whatever like business your family in is presumed to be what your business will be when you get older, right?
Yeah.
if your family runs a store, then you're running that store. But so, but anyway, that's a whole other thing. But
Yeah,
oh,
should take
so,
some questions from chat.
yeah, I was actually just reading what Sense was just posting in a documentary about Ghibli. Hayao Miyazaki was actually pretty strict on his son when he was kind of training him. Like it could get heated, and that's a lot of yeah. That's the things like I mean, and that's kind of the feeling I get from Miyazaki is like I think like I don't know their movies always turn out really good underneath him because like he expected the same quality out of everybody else that he was putting in as well. Like he kind of got everybody to do their work at their very best, and I guess that probably translates into being a parent, where that's probably not fun for the kid. But I can't
Yeah,
imagine.
I agree.
I always think about like in the U.S. like because I can there's some correlations you can make like in Hollywood and stuff where like because there are like celebrities where like their kids also become celebrities. Like that's not an uncommon thing, but it's always a thing where like that that kid's inevitably compared to their parent, and it's very rare that the kid ends up being more famous than the parent. Like they usually like end up being I don't know. Well, it depends. Like it always becomes a thing though. Like they're always compared, right? Like you think like Billy Ray Cyrus and Miley Cyrus, or like Will Smith and Jaden Smith. Like
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like
yeah.
I mean, and not to say that like Jaden and Miley aren't as talented. Like um, less stable maybe. I don't know. Jaden seems like he's actually straightened out. Like I think he might be okay now. But
You would know
my
more about that than I do.
I don't know. Like I don't follow it super closely, but it's just one of those things where I don't know. That's got to be a whole different level of expectation. I would not envy.
Yeah, I can't imagine being a celebrity's child.
Oof.
You go through so much. Like, imagine going to school as like
I
someone
don't
like that.
I don't know if you can like depending like honestly like cuz like I feel like there's that really strong chance that you get harassed just as much as the celebrity does like by paparazzi and by just other people.
Yeah.
And like how would you ever know who's actually your friend or who just like wants to be cool with you?
Oh yeah, that's
Like that's like that'd be such a nightmare. I don't know. But maybe it's fine. I don't know. Like I I'd like to think that kids can be allowed to be kids, but I think I've been proven wrong before. So anyway,
these are
a
some
tune went to high school
interesting
like that in California. Oof.
these are some interesting topics. Interesting
Yeah,
questions we've been talking
yeah.
about today.
This kind of went into a different corner, didn't it? But I mean,
Yeah.
and I would love to. I might have to like check out that documentary that Sense was talking about because I'd love to get more context on like I don't know Hayao and Goro Miyazaki because I mean it's increasingly looking like once because I mean Miyazaki's probably never going to retire, but I assume he's eventually going to die because most people do that eventually. Um, and I wonder what's going to happen to Ghibli, honestly, because I just feel like there really hasn't there's really nobody else like Miyazaki in the studio. So like I wonder what happens once he can't bail them out with like another award winning movie. But
I would think that there's just that they'll just have to get on with it, and they'll probably lose a lot of support, maybe.
right. I mean,
Um,
I just worry like if they're gonna be able to like I don't know, like
well, I think it would be just like Disney. Like
right,
Disney has fallen off a whole lot uh, with everything that they've done.
right.
Um, like Pixar, and I watched a video about this recently that Pixar and regular have not really made a hit since Frozen 2.
Frozen
Like a
2, Electric
like
Boogaloo.
like a big hit. Like sure there were some hits there that have been good, but not to like the level of like stuff like Frozen or
Right.
kind of like some of their old movies.
I mean,
And
I think Encanto did really well, but I don't know
um
if Encanto was like record breaking for them or anything.
Encanto actually, from what I researched, it didn't do well.
Hmm.
Um, it did well after the pandemic, like during the pandemic when everyone was at home, it had a lot of streaming, but it didn't
Oh,
do
sure.
very well in the box office.
You know what? I believe that because I didn't bother watching it till it was on streaming either. So
Yeah.
fair enough. But no, yeah, that's kind of true. Like Disney, I feel like there's. I mean, that could get into a whole other discussion because like here in the West, there is such a strong fear of doing something that's like I don't know, like actually like taking risks with things.
Yeah.
Because like I mean, because like Encanto, I guess like was like an actually like unique, new film they were trying to go for, but at the same time, like it wasn't. I don't know, it wasn't terribly different from anything they'd done before. Like it was still
It
followed
was
a
still
lot of the same
safe.
story beats. Yeah, I mean it was
Yeah.
very safe because they leaned really hard into be like, it's like, oh, if it's diversity, then everyone has to love it because if you hate it, you're racist, So that's always a safe thing to do. But I mean, it was good though. Like I think Encanto was fine. I I don't know. But yeah, they do a lot of sequels. They're in the middle of like remaking all their movies as live action, which that's really scraping the bottom of the barrel in my opinion.
Yeah, that's
Because
another thing that's Disney that Disney is really weird about is doing
it's
that.
it's the thing that consistently no one is asking for, but they keep making them. Like
Yes.
even when I'm pretty sure that like the Jungle King remake happened, and everyone was like, "Please, no more. We don't like these." And they're like, "Well, what about Beauty and the Beast?" And I'm like, "Stop!"
Damn it.
Like,
Exactly.
and I don't know, like, because I again, like, Little Mermaid's like one of my favorites. Like, that's a great one. I don't want to see it live action. It was great as a cartoon. Like, I don't know.
Okay,
Like,
okay, here's a
that's
question.
sure.
Would you watch a live action of like Nausicaa?
Oh, interesting. I would. Uh, I think it would really depend on who's involved in the making of it. Um, and this is gonna sound really weird based on what I just said, but I think if Disney was involved in actually like funding it and making it, I would be
Yeah,
more interested because I think if there can be Disney money behind a project like that, I think it could look really good. If there's Japanese studio money, like even Studio Ghibli, like the budgets that Japanese studios have for the amount of CG that would require. Like, I don't know if it could do it justice. Like, I mean, unless you get like real creative with like puppetry. Like, I'd be okay with like some Jim Henson kind of like Dark Crystal nonsense if they did that for Nausicaa.
That would be weird. That would be really weird. If it was
Like,
something like Dark Crystal.
well, I mean, like, because I don't know, because like I've never seen a Japanese studio do like good CG. Like, they just it's so expensive. Like, they just like you almost have to have like an American studio backing you to have enough to make it look right.
Yeah, I agree.
And so like I mean, again, like I don't know if I necessarily would want Nausicaa 3 like live action. That one probably would make me curious enough to at least watch it though. Just because like I have to think, wow, they're actually trying to do that. We'll see how that goes.
Kind of
Like I'm
like
always curious, but
the One Piece thing.
yeah, where it's like, and I still actually I haven't watched it yet, but I do want to watch it because there's always that idle bit of curiosity where it's like I mean it's like I don't know if it'll be good, but it'll be interesting. Like
Yeah, I feel you there. That's kind of the reason why I was a little bit interested in the One Piece animation, the One Piece thing.
yeah, right,
Um, but yeah, it's hard to say. Like for me, when I'm thinking of like Ghibli movies and stuff like that, uh, I can't really imagine a live action version of like Spirited Away or something like that.
right,
It's just like incomprehensible to me.
right. Well, it's one of those things where like, and it's something that I dearly love about Ghibli is that they really take advantage of the fact that they're animation.
Yeah.
And you can do things in animation that you just can't do in live action. You can take advantage of the medium that way, and they really do in all their movies. Like I think their best chance would probably be like Kiki's Delivery Service, right? Because I don't think that one had any outlandish like fantastical things in it. Like I think that one could be done live action, reasonably, possibly. I mean, I guess Grave of the Fireflies you could, but I don't want to see that live action. I never want to watch it again.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, no. That would be way too sad and
Yeah,
controversial.
right. I mean, also finding child actors good enough to pull that off would be tough anyway. So I'd still say that Kiki's Delivery Service is probably their best bet at doing a live action. See, I'm trying to think like of any of the other ones they've done that would, because most of them at least have like some aspect of the story that's like really like beyond reality, right?
Yeah.
And so like, I mean, not that Kiki's Delivery Service is a believable, realistic story either, but like at least that one, like special effects could pull it off. They made Matilda into a movie, so I'm sure they could do Kiki's Delivery Service. But
Now, I think the one that would have like the best chance would maybe be what was that one about the uh I think Whispers of the Heart could be done. Um as well as maybe The Wind Rises. I think that would work as well.
oh, sure, I forgot about the Wind Rises. That's a newer one, yeah. Well, new to me, but um, yeah, I could see that actually. Porco Rosso would be controversial as live action. That would be a bold move to do Porco Rosso.
Yeah, that would be really bold.
I mean, that'd probably be another one. Like if they announce, "Hey, live action Porco Rosso," I'd be like, "Oh, I gotta go see that." I mean, I need to see how that goes down. But
I don't remember what was the most controversial thing about Porco Rosso. I hardly remember it. be honest.
Oof. It's been a long. I mean, mostly just remember he's a flying pig. I remember Porco Rosso. Let's see here. I mean, it takes place during World War One. Well, slightly after World War One. Or wait, rather be a pig than a
Oh yeah,
fascist.
yeah, too. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, you know.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
It, you know.
Maybe one of these days I'll rewatch that, but I hardly remember it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. We'll have to do a Ghibli-a-thon.
I'd do a Ghibli-a-thon. Ghibli-a-thon sounds fun.
I still need to watch The Cat Returns. This is one I've never seen, but I really want to see because it's about a cat.
Didn't they do a uh Lupin movie?
The Ghibli?
Yeah.
Uh, Maybe that sounds. No, yeah, didn't. I don't know if it was Ghibli officially, but I swear they were involved with oh, what's that one called? The Castle of Cagliostro.
Yes. Yes, that's what it's called. Castle Cagliostro.
Like I don't know if this was Ghibli per se, but I want to say Miyazaki. Yeah, Miyazaki directed it. I think this might have
Okay.
even been 1979. So this is pre Ghibli. But I believe this is Miyazaki's like first like directorial debut, perhaps.
Yeah.
Because and also Castle of Cagliostro is a great movie, great Lupin movie. Okay, so this
I've
was
never seen it.
it's honestly very solid as far as like old school Lupin. It's a good one. Okay, so yeah, his first. So he directed Future Boy Conan. It's probably technically his first directorial credit for a TV show. And then he did Castle of Cagliostro. Oh, I need to see Sherlock Hound. I keep hearing about Sherlock Hound. It sounds so delightful.
Yeah, that sounds like something you would like.
Look, I like Sherlock and I like hounds. What can I say? Anybody here remember freaking? Wasn't I swear like, and maybe this could be like me being crazy, but I swear wasn't there like what's it called? What? Wishbone? It was like a late '90s. It was like a live action talking dog that was like a detective. This is a memory that's been activated. It existed, I'm sure of it. It wasn't called Sherlock Holmes, but I think it was called Wishbone. It was a dog that did stuff. It was cool. It
I
was
don't know what
really
you're talking
relevant.
about.
Look,
I don't know what you're talking
everyone remembers Wishbone.
about.
This is important. Hold on. We're all learning together.
Oh boy,
TV
here we
show.
go.
Yes, it's real. It had 2 seasons in 1995.
Oh my gosh, why are you showing this to everyone?
This
It's another one of
matters.
your weird shows.
No, it's Wishbone. I don't know. I think this has nothing to do with Sherlock Holmes, actually. No, it does, maybe. I don't know. Guys, Wishbone, back me up. The Wikipedia page is very bare. There's not a lot of information here. I don't think anyone remembers this. Oh no. I swear, am I crazy?
I think you're crazy.
What was this about? I swear it has something to do with Sherlock Holmes. He's
Uh,
a well-read, pleasant, and brave dog who sees parallels between classic literature. Okay, so it's not specifically Sherlock Holmes, but like it was like classic literature was like incorporated into the show. That's right. That's why I'm getting all okay. This matters. Attune's is showing your age. Shush, Attune. Everyone remembers Wishbone. You're all jealous. Okay, anyway. It was very relevant to Miyazaki having directed Sherlock Hound.
Yeah, this was such a tangent.
Don't worry, guys. You'll look when you all watch Wishbone later tonight. You'll thank me for introducing you to classic '90s period live action cartoon shows. I don't know. But hey, anything else you want to talk about, Zyga, for Ghibli?
For Ghibli, like I think they're very entertaining movies. Like I said before, like when we were talking about Spirited Away, for the most part, is that those are their movies are just so detailed. They have
Hmm.
a lot of detail and they really bring out animation. They do not really skimp on animation at all, like how some anime do.
Hmm.
It's all just like high quality and uh and you're kind of like transported it's kind of like an isekai. You're kind of like transported into another world whenever you're watching one of their movies. Like
Right.
you really get fully immersed in the whole thing.
No, for sure. They do a really good job of just sucking you in like right from the get go, and you get to just enjoy this whole other place.
Yeah,
And
and it's
it's
usually like whimsical and like there's like some sort of like magic afoot there, whether it's like present or it's like in the background, or if it's just
right,
like a little bit here and there. It's a really beautiful thing to witness and appreciate, I think.
right, pretty good.
We didn't really talk about a lot of the other ones, like Princess Mononoke or
Right,
Kaguya.
right. I mean, there's a ton of them. Is the thing like, 'cause I think Princess Mononoke is like another big time classic. I'd say like this is probably like a top three as far as like the Ghibli films that like most people know.
Yeah.
Like I'd say there's a very good chance you've seen Princess Mononoke if you've heard of Ghibli.
Do you want me to be completely honest?
Only if it makes me think higher of you.
I do not remember anything from this movie.
Well, you don't remember the part where she's like a princess?
No, all I remember is one scene where she's like on the top of a roof house and like fighting or something like that. Rooftop.
Yeah. I mean, I
But
guess, yeah. I guess this one really stuck out to me because, like, I mean, I think this is, like, if I had to take a guess, this is probably Ghibli's, like, most violent film because it
yeah,
shows a decent amount of, like fairly realistic combat and fairly unrealistic combat. Um, so I just remember being like, again, this is probably a movie like, this is almost one like, maybe it's not even a kid's movie, perhaps, because I remember being really shocked because there's a scene like early on in the film where like he like shoots an arrow and the arrow goes is like so powerful that like it like completely severs this other guy's arm, and they show the whole sequence of the guy being like, no, my arm, that hurts, and I was like, ah, that's not pleasant to look at. Wasn't ready for that. But and there's a whole lot of other violence because there's like wolves fighting humans and humans shooting stuff, and but I mean this is another really good one where it's like the the dichotomy of like the the heroes and the villains, so to speak, where it's like everyone involved in the movie has like their own like very legitimate reasons for what they're doing,
yeah,
and it's just again like really just well written conflict where it feels like everybody, it seems like everybody's like doing the best thing for them, but like there's like no way for everyone to win kind of a situation.
yeah,
And so it's like it's just a good setup for like a really enthralling story because you're like because there's the characters you like, but there's also the realization where it's like, well, it's like even though like I like these ones better, like it doesn't mean like these other people are wrong necessarily, but Like it's I don't know. Anyway, it's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's what makes a really good show or a really good storytelling is like when you like sympathize with the other side or you like get where that person's coming from and you can see it from their perspective.
Right.
Uh, that's a really good indicator of a good story well told.
No, yeah, that
Instead of evil person doing evil things because he is evil.
right. That's kind of like where like a story will jump from like good to great in my mind. Where like the second you make me like sympathize with like the opposing force, like as much as like I sympathize like with the the hero or the protagonist, like
Yeah.
that's a good enthralling story at that point.
Yeah.
That's where you have to know what happens next. But yeah, so yeah, Mononoke's great one. Um,
I honestly
there's
don't remember it. I wish I could
no
I wish I
it's
could say something about it, but I just don't remember.
no it's totally fair. I mean, it's again like I think that one sticks out especially in my mind just because like I know I was so shocked right from the start that, like it just helped punch the whole movie better in my mind.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many more we could talk. Like really, we could probably come back to this topic at some other time if we wanted to, because I don't think we have time at this point to really talk about many more.
Well, to wrap it up, well, I want to know what kind of like what kind of like your least favorite one was.
My least favorite. Um, that is. Let me see here. Ooh, like I guess if I just had like go just like my gut reaction, my least favorite that I've seen is probably the Tale of Princess Kaguya, and not necessarily because it was bad. It's just like it's the one that I remember the least. Like even though like
Okay.
I've technically watched it so much more like recently than some of these other ones, like it it didn't stick with me the way some of the like their older ones did.
Yeah.
Like I really couldn't tell you like a single specific scene from that whole movie.
Yeah.
Like
I agree. Uh, the one for me would probably be Ponyo.
oh, see, I've never seen Ponyo.
Yeah.
I remember
That's one
seeing
that
so many ads for this though when it was coming out.
yeah, I remember watching it, but I don't remember what it was about. I don't remember anything.
Yeah, yeah, I never saw this one actually. I remember somebody explaining it to me. It's like the Little Mermaid but Japan, and I was like, well, that's not like that doesn't seem to be what the movie shows. Like the the trailer shows. I don't know.
I think to kind of like wrap up,
Mm,
um I think Studio Ghibli like there's some really good directors out there that are not from Studio Ghibli like as I said before, Mamoru Hosoda and like Makoto Shinkai as two people.
mm,
They're like getting there, I think, in terms of kind of that quality that Ghibli has put out over the years.
sure.
Whereas like um I think for Mamoru Hosoda, he kind of like takes the character side of things, and I think his characters are pretty good in the shows that he does, and the
Mm,
setting is pretty good. But I feel like Makoto Shinkai does the setting a little bit better on his end,
mm,
um, just because like a lot of the like situations and stuff like that. I think this Shinkai is very mainstream and very appeals to that mainstream audience of like otaku and just kind of normal people. Like you've seen Suzume. Have you seen Suzume?
Suzume was that one just barely came out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I watched it. Was it with you or was it with mutual friend? Maybe. I think
Oh yeah,
both of you.
we went to the theater, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Suzume
That
was a great movie.
Oh yeah, it was a great movie. And that one kind of had that mystical type wonder that um that a Ghibli film would have. Um Even though it was kind of more like a traveling show showing off like parts of Japan for the most part. But
Right.
and the characters were not like super deep or in depth or anything like that, but um I think he is getting there with the amount of like popularity that Ghibli has.
Mm,
And whereas I don't think like a new Ghibli would ever appear, but I think like evolutions of those types of movies are
right.
something of the future.
No, I can agree to that. Like, cause yeah, I mean, especially like with Suzume, like I'd put Suzume like on par with other Ghibli movies. Honestly, like it hits a lot of those same beats of like good fantastical otherworld combined with decently written characters. Like
Yeah.
you're right. Like maybe not as deep, but like it's still like the relationships of the characters like still like very believable. Especially, I loved the relationship that between like the Suzume, that's her name. I should know that. That'd be silly to forget her name when it's called Suzume. But Suzume and her aunt, like I thought that relationship was fantastic. The way that was portrayed.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So, but yeah, so and I agree. Like I don't think we're probably never gonna see something like. And granted, Miyazaki was in industry for years before he started, Studio Ghibli officially. But like it, it's so rare for a studio to come out banging on all cylinders like that. Like you just don't see that too often.
Yeah, you don't
They
really see it often anymore.
like those kinds of like unicorn studios. Just I mean, every now and then, but usually like the first couple outings are a little rough around the edges, and then they kind of start working up a groove.
Yeah,
But
very true. The so like whenever Hayao Miyazaki, whenever he like um retires for good,
yeah,
for good, and
by
like can't do
choice
it
or
anymore.
by Reaper, but
Yeah, either one. Like I feel like Ghibli would never be the same, even under like Goro Miyazaki's lead. I think it would evolve into a different Studio Ghibli.
right,
Kind of like how Makoto Shinkai or Amuro Hosoda take their movie directions. But
right,
I
right.
doubt that we'd ever see like a classic Hayao Miyazaki film again. And whether or not I'm like okay with that, I think I'm okay with that because I don't really want to see like clones of Studio Ghibli. I kind of just want to see like someone's take on kind of like that idea
Right.
or that type of story.
Sure.
I don't know. What do you think?
No, I agree. Like it's the best stories have to kind of come from authenticity, right? So like it's got to be it can't be like a director who's trying to, imitate like somebody else, which I kind of feels like what's happening a lot with like Goro's work.
Yeah.
Like I mean, maybe this is extremely like morbid to say, but I wonder if once, Goro is not no longer being influenced by his father, if maybe he'll really find his voice for storytelling. Um,
Yeah, maybe. I wonder how much with his movies did that he directed, how much did Miyazaki have in like guiding him? Or did he like was he there in his ear the entire time going like here's what you should do here, here's what you should do here? Or did
right.
he have more control over it?
Like, well, I mean, even like, I mean, that's very possible. But like, even if he wasn't actively like involved, there's still like the. I mean, I guess there's like the earwig of like the back of his mind. He's probably constantly thinking he's like I've got to make this as good as Dad's, like because Dad's gonna see it, he's gonna judge it, kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
there's that constant like little thing like in the back of his head, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I mean, who again? It's kind of speculative. Like who knows how much that's real. I mean, it's all just like yeah.
Yeah, it's all
But
speculation, but
I
it's
mean,
interesting to think about.
I don't think that. I mean, I at this point I doubt Studio Ghibli would just like out and out die. Like it's
Oh
not like
yeah, I
going to
doubt
go
it.
out of business.
Yeah, I
But
doubt it would ever will.
it might be similar to like because Disney went through like a pretty rough patch like from the late '60s to probably like the mid '80s even. Like they had to write out a a long stretch of less stellar films
Yeah,
before they kind of re-hit their groove in the '90s, and then you could argue that maybe they're in a slump again, but
I would say
I
they're in a
I
really
think
big slump.
yeah, I think it's probably like gonna be somewhere for Ghibli. Like they'll they might it might not be quite as good for maybe even a decade or so, but eventually there'll be another person that comes through that'll have the chutzpah and the
What's the
vision
the vision?
and the moxie, perhaps. But yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be interesting, I guess.
yeah, I agree. I can't wait for the future because like so far, like ever since like Suzume came out and like even movies before that with like Your Name or Silent Voice or Boy and the Beast, Summer Wars, except stuff like that. Anime movies have just gotten better and better over
Mm,
time and more
right.
fun. And I'm honestly here for it.
Yeah. No, there's some good ones out there, and like I feel bad because I think like outside of Ghibli, like I really haven't seen a lot of like animated films, or like anime films, I guess. Like I've seen Suzume, I've seen Summer Wars, I've seen like maybe one or two others,
Yeah,
but like it's really something I haven't explored much of. But I probably got it now because there's some really good folks out there making good movies. It's not
yeah,
just
there
Ghibli
is.
these days.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing is that back then it was always just Studio Ghibli and like they were the big names. And sure, there were other movies too, but it was just all about them. But now there's a whole lot more, and it's a fun time. It's a good time.
Yeah, some good stuff out there.
Good time to be a movie anime fan, I think.
Yeah, and I agree with Sense. I think Goro will figure it out. He'll get there.
Yep.
It's not like his movies have been bad. They're just
Yeah, they're just not like as good as
it's
his
not Hiao like
yeah.
or Hayao, but
Yeah, they're not
yeah.
bad movies at all.
But anyway, um, yeah, I think
So that's Studio
that's
Ghibli.
that's Studio Ghibli in a nutshell. I don't know. But yeah, this was kind of
Yeah.
fun to talk about. I mean, obviously there's so many other movies we didn't even like touch on. Like, so maybe we could come back someday. Like maybe after we've actually watched some Studio Ghibli's been like got them fresh in our mind, we could come back to this sometime and talk about some others as well. But
Yeah, I
there's
agree. I honestly was woefully unprepared for today,
Yeah, we're all
but
disappointed in you.
um, but yeah, but I think that what's great is that even though I've not seen them in forever, just like you could tell that like the ones that have been really good, like Spirited Away or Nausicaa or whatever, because they're still like fresh in your mind that you can like bring them up and you can remember scenes, remember the way you felt when you watched those movies. And
Mm,
I think that's something worth mentioning.
right. Yeah, I mean, it really is like these movies do like stick with you. Like, I mean, and the nice thing is like, it's such a big catalog now. It's like there's probably a movie that'll resonate with everybody. Like,
Yep.
or like, I mean, I guess every individual like, will have a particular movie like resonates with them the most, right?
Yep.
So,
But
yeah.
we know we should know to like never trust your um your resonance.
No, my vibrations are the highest. I I am I am the crystal that will heal. I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
don't
I
know
think
new age
chat
stuff.
would say different.
No, guys, you it turns out great, unprepared, always shush. Spirited Away English dub made me cry in anger. I thought the English dub was fine. Like, I mean, that is just a quick aside, but like, I feel like the Ghibli dubs are, I would say, above average for English dubbing. They usually do a decent job.
I actually really want to see now. Now that you said that, I actually want to see them with subs
Have you ever seen?
because
Huh?
I have not seen any of them with in Japanese. So,
Oh, interesting.
huh.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen several of them both ways. Like, I've seen Spirited Away in English and Japanese. I thought the English was fine. I'm not specifically sure what Hatoon's referencing and saying the English dub is bad. Um, I don't know, but I've always felt like Ghibli is, and again, I think it's because like Disney, like they because the English version will come out like up to a year later. Like they take their time to try to like find the right voice for the characters and to really feel it out with the voice direction and everything. But I think I mean, and again, like you can always say like the dub's never gonna be quite this. Like people always say like the dub's never gonna be as good as the original. But I think it's more that the dub's never gonna be the same as the original. Not
Yeah.
necessarily that it's worse, but it's hard because you usually have the director choosing the voices, and that can really make a big difference in terms of like the director can find the person that exactly matches what's in his head, and then the English director then has to go in through and be like kind of take a guess at what that's supposed to be, like their interpretation. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. Didn't we already do dub versus sub?
I think we kind of briefly touched on it. Dub
There's more
versus
the
sub, maybe.
I think we've done it maybe a little bit, and there's just a particular scene that loses nuance, and I'll agree with that. Like, and actually, I probably even know what scene you're talking about, Hitoon, because there are some things where it's like going from Japanese to English, like it's never gonna translate 100%. So you kind of have to let that be. I guess it's never gonna match perfectly, but anyway, we've been talking for a while, and it's actually getting a little bit late now. Oops.
Oh yeah, it has been. Oh my goodness.
But that's fine. I mean, I like this is a fun discussion. I hope it's been fun for those listening.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't have much to say on the whole subjects,
No, I
but
feel like you had some really good thoughts, honestly. some good questions.
Yeah, it's
So
interesting to think about all that stuff and just what could be and what the future could look like. I think is the most interesting thing.
right. No, yeah, there's. I mean, it'll be interesting. Like, I'm always going to be interested to see what the next Studio Ghibli project is. Like, it's something I always keep an eye on, even if I don't necessarily watch the movie because I'm lazy. But so yeah, it'll be fun, and I'm more motivated to go watch more Ghibli now because just like going through this today, I was like looking at all these looking at all these movies, like, oh, I never saw that one. That one looks like it's probably good. Like, I really, I don't know. I probably want to go watch Whisper of the Heart now too, because that's one that I've never seen either. So
Yeah, I'd watch that one. I remember I really enjoyed it, so
I'll
maybe
have
you'll
to
enjoy it too.
do that. But Sense was late, but it was fun nonetheless. Yeah, thanks for joining, Sense. Always good to have you. Always good to have you join when you can. And thanks everybody for coming to hang out. Like, I appreciate your input, and I realize we don't necessarily uh, read out loud everything that's going on in chat during these podcasts, but I am reading your comments and judging you silently. Don't worry.
Yeah, I as well have been reading as well.
But yeah, so this has been fun. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. Any final thoughts, Zyga?
Hmm. I think we've touched on about everything when it comes to this.
Sounds good. When's your next stream?
Tomorrow,
Sweet. We
right
got
now.
him. No, but it's fine.
In reality, I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to. It's just you'd be so much
Yeah,
cooler. But
yeah,
no,
that's true. It's
it's
true.
it's all good. I just think it's fun
One of
to,
these, I don't know why you want me to do it so much.
because it's fun. Look, I mean,
Is it?
no, it's
I mean,
great. Like,
you have like a mocking gallery.
no, yeah, when you become a streamer, you instantly get so much respect from everyone around you. Just people coming to chat all the time to tell you how great you are, and just to it's so fulfilling. Um,
How's been your have you finished post Stormblood yet?
I haven't started post Stormblood yet
Why?
because we had important things to do. We did the raid series, the Alliance raids.
Oh yeah, how did you like that?
The first one was really good. It was in Rabbit Naster. It was very cool. The other two were like stinky stuff from Tactics or whatever.
What are you talking about? The second one was from Ritter on the Lighthouse from
I mean,
12,
I guess that's 12 too, but
and the
that's
final
fair.
boss was Yasmat. So
Yeah, kind of. It was, I
kinda.
mean, it was. It was fine. And I guess it was, I mean, this is a whole other thing, but it was fun. It was it was inspired by 12. So it was cool. I liked it. Um so yeah, so we're making progress with it. We'll probably get to the post Stormblood content in another few weeks. So it'll be super good. Just blazing through the content, lightning speed. Hatun says you judge me vocally. You shush, Hatun. Gray is lonely by the amount of people he streams with regularly. Shush. No, I Hatun. I got so many friends. You don't even know. I
Well,
I don't need
he is
any of
pretty
you.
lonely because when he'd rather stream with other people.
I I kind of had that realization the other night. I was like, I do more streams with people than by myself. What does that mean? Like, I think I have like one stream a week where it's just me. Every other stream I do is with people, at least one other person. So, oops. But anyway, one of these
Well,
days I'll yeah.
I, maybe we should do a Final Fantasy cast soon. Final
Yeah,
Fantasy 14 cast.
that could be
Dude,
fun.
I have so much to say that will ruffle a lot of feathers.
Yeah.
there's a there's a lot that I do not like about the game right now. I'm one of those people that does not like the game in its current state.
What? Ah, but the story's so
Yeah.
good where I am. What are you talking about?
Well, I wish I was in that area.
See, if you savor the game, you get to enjoy the good parts longer.
And the crazy thing is that there's going to be a patch next week with new story, and I'm honestly debating about skipping it.
Yeah. I mean,
Like
I've
actually
heard.
skipping cutscenes.
I mean, I've heard from a couple other people that they're planning just to, like, not, do story content till like the expansion drops, and then just kind of power through the patch and then get straight to expansion that way.
Yeah, like
But
the current story is just not interesting
it's
in the
so good.
slightest.
See, that makes me sound like it's gonna be like my favorite part of the game, like the way you're describing
Oh
it.
no, I don't think you would enjoy it either.
What is it like, Stardew Valley
No,
or Harvest Moon?
no.
Oh,
But anyway, yeah, I feel like if you're a vet like me, with like so much under your belt, so much life in your, so much lives in the game,
yeah.
you don't really have much to do.
Yeah, you don't have an island full of content to go play with. It's a shame.
Yeah, I've never unlocked Island Sanctuary.
Man,
I actually like refuse to do it. There's
what?
two pieces of content in Final Fantasy 14 that I refuse not to that I refuse to do. And it's Island Sanctuary and Blue Mage. I
Wow.
refuse to do both of those.
I see. You do PvP all the time then?
I've done PvP occasionally.
Okay, fair enough.
The newer PvP modes are pretty fun. I'm not very good at it, but I've done it before.
Yeah, fair enough. Have you soloed Palace of the Dead yet?
No, I almost got to the end of the newest Palace of the Dead with some friends, but then we stopped because we like died on like floor 90 something. It was like 93 or something like that, and it was a really bad death.
Ooh,
And we were all demoralized.
that's unfortunate.
Because
Yikes.
it took forever to get there. It took forever to get there.
That is
And
not cool.
soloing the Palace of the Dead, I would need like so much runs of the original, and I'd have to like build up like a inventory of a lot of those potions and stuff. It
Mm,
requires a lot of setup to do a solo run.
right, but then you get a cool name tag.
Yeah, you do. You do get a cool name tag.
And everyone has to respect you.
But anyway,
But yeah, probably should get going. So,
yeah.
um,
Well, what are you streaming this week?
this week, I believe on Friday, streaming Yakuza 0 with Smo. It's a cool game. There's Yakuza in it. There's actually more than zero Yakuza, so it's a bit of a deceptive title. But it's fun. I don't. I think Saturday's probably Elden Ring. I don't know that for sure, but I feel that's true in my heart. And then Sunday is more Final Fantasy. And I think that's it.
Okay. Cool.
So we'll get out of here.
Oh,
Hatun is
I don't know.
rude.
I don't know if Debbie is still here, but I remember you saying something about Final Fantasy stuff. If you're in Grayson's server, you could message me there because I know we were talking about something about like what do you call it? Housing? Affordable
Yeah,
housing? Or something like that last time. Well,
right.
you can find me on there than DMB.
Yeah, I can't remember if Debbie's currently playing. I know Debbie's obviously played a bunch in the past. I don't know if Debbie's an active player. 'Cause
Oh, I see.
I think Debbie was considering becoming active again to join in on antics. I could be wrong
Oh,
if
okay.
Debbie is here to correct, but I think it's also possible Debbie went to bed at a reasonable hour.
It's true.
So, but anyway, I think Debbie, I'll ask next time they pop by. But anyway,
Okay.
hey, okay, I think that's it. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Have good times, good sleeps. Go to bed.
Farewell.
You too,
See
Jen.
you again.
Okay. Bye everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. There's the title. Yay. Okay. Bye.